All right, shalom. We're coming to you once again with another breakdown of another tribe. We're gonna give some more understanding on the tribe. We did the tribe of Reuben. Now we're gonna give you the tribe of Issachar. I think this will be a fun one to go over. Just real briefly. Okay, so we got you Genesis 49 and 14.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 14. Issachar is a strong ass, crouching down between two burdens.
Right, so he's crouching down in between two burdens. What are burdens? We're gonna go to Numbers chapter 4, verse 15. Because a lot of brothers don't break this down when they go over this. Numbers chapter 4, verse 15.
And when Aaron and his sons have made an end of covering the sanctuary and all the vessels of the sanctuary, as the camp is to set forward, after that the sons of Kohath shall come to bear it, but they shall not touch any holy thing, lest they die. These things are the burden of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation.
Right, so basically it's showing you the job descriptions of the sons of Kohath, which are Levites, and were the sons of Aaron, okay? All right, and the sons made an end of the covering of the sanctuary. All right, so it says that their burden, that's their responsibility, their duties, okay? So when you go back to Genesis 49, now that we understand what a burden is not something that holds you down. Oh, these kids are a burden on me. No, they're your responsibility. That's your duty to take care of them. Okay? Your job is not a burden. You have a responsibility now to be a grown up. All right? So, just like men that come into this truth, they're going to have a responsibility in this truth. And the burden is not to have a negative, it's not should be taken as a negative word. Okay? It is actually something great. For you to have a burden, a responsibility, means that you can be trusted to do something. All right? So back to verse 14, excuse me, in Genesis 49, we'll start at 14 again. Go ahead.
Issachar is a strong ass, crouching down between two burdens.
Right, so he's a strong donkey, crouching between two responsibilities. All right? Let's go into 1 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 32 to find out his first responsibility. All right? What was Issachar's responsibility? He had a job task as one of the 12 tribes, as one of the brothers. Let's see. 1 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 32.
And of the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of times, to know what Israel ought to do, the heads of them were 200, and all their brethren were at their commandment.
Right, so they had to understand the times. Understanding of the times is for you to understand what time you're in. Okay, understanding of the times, the time that you are in. Okay, is this the first or second day of the month? So they went out and to start. They were supposed to calculate the new moons. That's their job. Their job was to calculate the new moons and the feast days, and to keep track of the time, especially for the time of Jubilee and all that kind of stuff. When you get into that, not the book of Jubilee. There's no such thing as the book of Jubilee no more, by the way. All right. And when I say that the new moon's the complete dark moon, according to the scriptures, the complete dark moon. All right. Not the full moon. Okay. The full moon reaches the perfection. The new moon starts in darkness, just like how the day starts in darkness. It doesn't start at 12 midday when the sun done reached its perfection. All right. But not to get sidetracked. So that's their first responsibility, to understand the times and to keep track of the times. That was the tribe of Issachar's responsibility, their duty, their burden. Okay, now we're going to go to verse 39 and see what their second responsibility is.
Verse 39. And there they were with David 3 days, eating and drinking, for their brethren had prepared for them.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, they they that were nigh them, even unto Issachar and Zebulun and Naphtali, brought bread on asses, and on camels, and on mules, and on oxen, and meal cakes of figs, and bunches of raisins, and wine, and oil, and oxen, and sheep abundantly, for there for there was joy in Israel.
Right. All right. So they were there. They helped bring those things along with Zebulun and Naphtali. And by the way, they were real militant. By the way, when you read, when you go into, oh well, I'll bring it out later. They were real militant. By the way, that's the second responsibility. They helped preserve the house of David. Okay. When you read that, they helped preserve the house of David. So it says, because verse 39 says, and they were there, they were with David 3 days, eating and drinking, for their brethren had prepared for them. Moreover, they were nigh them. See, they were nigh near them, even unto Issachar, Zebulun, and Naphtali. Okay? So they went down and they helped preserve the lineage of David. When you go back to 15, go back to Genesis 49, verse 15.
And he saw that rest was good,
Mm-hmm.
and the land that it was pleasant,
Mm-hmm.
and bowed his shoulder to bear,
Right. See that?
and become a servant unto tribute.
Right. So he's seen there that bowed his shoulder to bear. To what? To bear his what? Responsibility. And became a servant unto tribute. Who was he a servant to? To the tribe of to David. Okay. All right. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 3. Once again, this was, when he told them about the last days, this was what was become for the last days of them being in their land. The tribe of Israelites are not in their land anymore. And if they are over there, they're not under the righteous rulership of Christ. Remember, Israel shall be trodden underfoot of the Gentiles for 42 months. Okay? And that's a little majestic time period. Okay? You have to have deep understanding to find out what does that mean. All right, so did I say Deuteronomy?
Yes, Deuteronomy 3.
3 and... Okay, hold on, let me pull it up on my... It's like, we don't know what you're talking about. All right. It's not letting me go to it. Hold on, dude. I don't know how to spell it right. I don't know how to spell Deuteronomy. I try to keep it's like it keeps putting debt. Three. Dang, thank God. All right, here, I finally got it. Verse 18.
Deuteronomy chapter 3 and verse 18. And I commanded you at that time, saying, the Lord your God hath given you this land to possess it. Ye shall pass over armed before your brethren, the children of Israel, all that are meet for the war.
Right, so you're supposed to go over there and possess your land. Okay? All you guys that are good and meet for the war. Let's go to Joshua chapter 21. Joshua chapter 21. And we're going to go to verse 44.
Joshua chapter 21 and verse 44. And the Lord gave them rest round about.
And the Lord gave them rest round about. Who's them? The children of Israel. Okay, when you jump up to verse 43. Go ahead and jump up to verse 43.
And the Lord gave unto Israel all the land which he sware to give unto their fathers, and they possessed it. and dwelt therein.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord gave them rest round about, according to all that he sware unto their fathers. And there stood not a man of all their enemies before them. The Lord delivered all their enemies into their hand. There failed not aught of any good thing which the Lord had spoken unto the house of Israel, all came to pass.
Mm-hmm. Right. So listen, he said that there failed not aught of any good thing which the Lord has spoken unto the house of Israel. All came to pass. So nothing failed. The Most High spoke truth. He spoke of the future, of what he was going to give to the children of Israel, and it did not fail. His word did not come back void.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so he told them, you guys are going to go and possess the land flowing with milk and honey, the godly, goodly land. All right? So what does it mean that that they would be paid tribute and became a servant unto tribute? Go to Judges chapter 1, verse 30. So now you're asking, why did it say he'll become a servant unto tribute?
Judges chapter 1 and verse 30. Neither did Zebulun drive out the inhabitants of Kitron, nor the inhabitants of Nahalo, but the Canaanites dwelt among them and became tributaries.
All right. So the Canaanites became tributaries because they failed to drive out the Canaanites. All right. All right. And then so go ahead, keep reading.
Neither did Asher drive out the inhabitants of Akko, nor the inhabitants of Zidon, nor of Ahlab, nor Akzib, nor of Helba, nor of Akska, nor of Rebo. But the Asherites dwelt among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land, for they did not drive them out.
All right. So they didn't drive them out. Some of them became tributaries. All right. And to show you another good scripture, let's go to Judges chapter 4. Oops. Oops. Hold on. Judges chapter 4, verse 4.
Judges chapter 4, verse 4. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lipdoth, she judged Israel at that time.
Right. So it says she judged Israel at that time. Doesn't mean that she sat and was judging every day, all day, every day, because she had a husband named Lapidoth. Okay. And she was a prophetess. A lot of times when women are prophetess, that means they're married to a prophet. Okay. So she is a prophetess. Okay, so obviously her husband was a great man for him to be called a prophet in the scriptures. And his name means torches. All right, when you read about him, his name means torches. Skipping down, we find out about the man named Barak. He was basically nonchalant about what was going on. Okay, he was supposed to go out to war and he didn't really want to go. All right, and certain tribes didn't end up going either. But I want to find the scripture. Excuse me. Because I want to get this scripture is left out. About Issachar.
You want this one in 5 and 15 in Judges?
Yeah, I'm going towards it. What's it? Okay, go ahead.
Judges chapter 5, verse 15. And the princes of Issachar were with Deborah, even Issachar. And also Barak, he was sent on foot into the valley. For the divisions of Reuben that were great thoughts of heart.
So even right there, it show you that Reuben was divided. Even that whole tribe was divided. They made an agreement back in the book of Numbers unto Moses that when they had to go to war, they will cross over the Jordan and come. And so it says that when there's a division of heart, that means that there's a battle within themselves. Some agreed to go, and some of them didn't. All right. So it shows you Reuben was unstable even in that aspect. But right here with the tribe of Issachar, they was always ready for war. They were a militant people. Okay, real militant people. All right, so that was their responsibility. They went to war whenever it was time. It's a second responsibility. David, they preserved David. They was around David. That was David's army right there. All right, you never really hear no problems out of Issachar. But I want to go into this whole Issachar is the Mexicans because he's always hired. That does not make sense. Matter of fact, let's go into Genesis chapter 30. All right, let's start at verse. Let's start at verse 14.
Genesis chapter 30 and verse 14. And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest and found mandrakes in the field and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, Give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes.
Right, let me stop you right there. So mandrakes is a type of fruit that helps a woman get fertile. Okay? It helps a woman get fertile. She sits there, she eats that fruit, showing you that certain fruits, and we're going to do another lesson on that. That certain fruits and herbs of the field are made for certain thing to do to function, help certain body parts function in your body. Okay? All right? So certain medicines of the field. Okay? Certain fruits of the field. Oranges is good for you. It gives you that vitamin C. All right? Apples is good for you because it gives you fiber. It helps you go to the bathroom. Okay, just like beans. All right, natural stuff from the earth God has created for you. Okay, if you want some flavor in your food, He has given you salt. All right? So these mandrakes was something special. It helped the woman get fertile. Go ahead, verse 15.
And she said unto her, It is a small matter that thou hast taken my husband, and wouldest thou take away my son's mandrakes also? And Rachel said, Therefore he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes.
All right, keep going.
And Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him and said, Thou must come in unto me, for surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrakes. And he laid with her that night.
Right, so they basically switched nights to lay with their husband, okay? There were certain nights that the husband dealt with the wives. Take note of that, okay? Take note of that. There's no threesomes going on, none of that crazy stuff. That's against the scriptures. Read Leviticus chapter 18, verse 18. You're not supposed to take another sister to her sister to vex her, all right? But these sisters had certain nights that they dealt with the husband, all right? Verse 17, go ahead.
And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived and bare Jacob the fifth son. And Leah said, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband. And she called his name Issachar.
There you go. She called his name Issachar. Issachar, excuse me, Sakar. Okay, wages, higher wage, reward. See that? She gave them a reward, a passage money, a fare, a fee. Okay, that's what happened. Y'all talking about, oh, because he's always hired. The Mexicans is all. What are you saying about the Mexicans now? They're getting their asses kicked out of this country. Okay, what does that, what, what does that have to do with anything? So you telling me that they said, oh, you got, man, you tell, if a brother says I have 3 jobs, they say what? Oh, you a Jamaican? Man, them Jamaicans be having like 3 jobs. All right, so this has nothing to do with, the donkey and all that. It has to be, that's all BS. Made up by a man who's calling another man the comforter. All right, he's done. He didn't have no understanding. All right. So the tribe of Issachar, I gave you his responsibilities. It's in the scriptures if you guys search. And stop being man worshippers of these men that you see on YouTube. All right? Stop being man worshippers. Okay? The tribe of Issachar is the tribe of Issachar. And to show you more proof, to show you that you don't, I'm going to read something out of this book called They Came Before Columbus. I'm going to go ahead and put this up on the screen. If for those of you that are watching, it's a book by Ivan Van Serta. Okay, great book. It's about the African presence in early America, in ancient America. Excuse me. Okay, it's a great book. All right, this book. Look at these Olmec heads. This is the man that created this book. He has a few other books that are real great for you guys to look up. All right. Oh yeah, another one, another great book, The Destruction of the Black Civilization. But anyway, just to check some things out, I'll click on this Olmec head, put view image. All right. I'm gonna exit out of that because I don't want that to be my. But I'm gonna read this in this page in page 105. And out of this book called They Came Before Columbus, it says, we have been concentrating in this chapter on the evidence of Mandingo traders in Mexico. But it would be wrong to suppose that the Mandingos settled only there, and that it is only in Mexico that their influence may be demonstrated. Okay, so there was Mandingo, which is so-called Africans, which is the black Hebrew tribes, going down into Mexico. All right, going down into Mexico. All right, so for us to sit there, oh, let me jump down to the last paragraph of the same book. It says the Mandingo blacks practice settled agriculture, and they must therefore have had fixed settlements in South and Central America. But their traders, by the very nature of the occupation, were nomadic. So they moved around. Okay, they didn't just settle in South America or Central America. They kept moving around. But their traders, by the very nature of the occupation, were nomadic, ever on the move, passing through unfamiliar and sometimes hostile territory. They built temporary bases for their defense. Some of these bases, built on elevated mounds, strongly resemble West African stockades. Right? Okay. So this right here shows you that the Negro, so-called black man, African, ancient Hebrew Israelites of the Mandingo tribes, came over here to South Central and South America. All right, they even showed Christopher Columbus how to get over here, which they call the Moors. Okay, and the blacks been coming over. That Mandingo trade been coming over here since the ancient times. All right. When you look at this map right here, it shows you that they come from that kingdom of Mali. All right. The Mandingos was right here in this area of the globe of Africa. All right. And they came down. The current takes you straight. You don't even just put the sail up. You don't even need nobody to. You just put the sail up. You don't even need no engine, and the wind will blow you straight to South America. All right. And they've been coming over there for years. For years. Okay. Now, they moved in there, they start settling, they get married, they do agriculture, they mix in. Then what? How can you say that he's Issachar when it shows you that men been leaving coming down there for years, since the 1300s? We'll just leave it at that. I think one page says since the, oh no, that was something else I read. But since the 1300s, we'll leave it at that. That's 300 years before 619. Also, let me read another page out of the book called The Black Indians by William Loren Katz. Okay? It says in the 1790s, no, I'm going to start at the second verse. The arrival of U.S. rule changed life in California. Under Spain and Mexico, about 15% of Californians had listed themselves as African in heritage. This population disappeared on the U.S. Census rolls. Slavery, racial animosity, and California's new black laws drove them across to the safe side of the invisible color line. Okay? So, and I'm going to post this picture up so you guys can see that the black Indians was dark-skinned black men. All right? But to show you that there's a lot of mixing in between the tribes even back then. So therefore, all this saying that, oh, the Issachars Mexicans and Judah's just the Negroes is bullshit. Men hopped their behinds in boats and different vessels and left whenever they wanted to. Mm-hmm. And mixed in with whoever they wanted to. There's Israelites in China. There's Israelites in India. Point blank period. All right. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find this picture. All right, what are you guys going to say about this? Okay? What are you guys going to say about this? All right? What are you guys going to say about this? This is a map of India and certain locations where Jews settled. All right, now what tribe are they from in the 12 tribe chart? You'd be safe to say Benjamin, because Esther was from the tribe of Benjamin. All right? And when you read the Bible map, they were in this area. So you'll be safe to say that area. Okay? Tribe of Benjamin was there. So with that, I just give you guys something to think about. You cannot go off of that falsified 12 tribe chart. Okay? And with that, I'll say shalom.